Hello and welcome to Wanderers Live, and a genuine first here today. It's the first time that we brought the fans on board. And yes, basically everything that we're going to be doing in this show is going to be decided by the fans. They're asking the questions. They're setting the agenda. We've asked each one of our three guests to come up with a big Bolton Wanderers question to trigger some debate. So without further ado, I'm going to start introducing you to our guests. First of all, the magic. Ta-da! There we go. Our first guest is Charlie. How are you doing, Charlie?
Hello. I'm not too bad, Mark. Thanks.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Right, so you've got your question at the ready. But first of all, we're going to introduce our second guest, which is... Ta-da! There he is. It's Ashley. How are you doing, Ashley?
Hi, Mark. I'm all right, thanks.
Excellent stuff. And to complete the wonderful quartet, he's there. Chris, how are you doing, pal?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Excellent stuff. Right, we're all here. We can all hear each other. We've all got questions, and I'm going to turn to you first, Charlie. You give me your first big Bolton Wanderers question.
So my question's regarding the time wasting that's been going on around the league. It's quite a big debate that's been going around, and it's impacted Bolton a lot. So my question is, what are the rule changes that you should do that'll stop goalkeepers going down and with their injuries?
That's a good one. That's a good general one. And don't I think the rule makers as well, they're considering a few different options. I think they're talking about either having an outfield player or a captain leaving the field for a minute, or potentially banning players from going to the touchline. They're the two things that they're thinking of at the moment. I'll bring you in, Ashley, first. First of all, I bet you it drives you nuts. But secondly, not if Bolton Wanderers do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. So I think it's happened to us loads of times, but we've used it as well, so can't complain too much. Yeah, it's not great, is it? It ruins the game a little bit, but I'm not sure. I think we'd have to do something in terms of, like you say, someone goes off the field for a set amount of time. So, if that can't be the keeper, then, like you say, is it the captain? Is it the player they're choosing comes off? Like they do with an injury and the physios will come on. You wait, referee brings you back on. I don't know, something like that. And then I think it'd quickly cut out, and they'll come up with the next cunning ploy to waste time or to get a breather. I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing as cunning as a footballer. They'll always find a loophole, won't they? Chris, give us your grand plan. How are we stamping this out?
I think, like Shuey said, it's happened to us enough this season, so we sort of implemented it ourselves in the last few weeks. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's quite simple in terms of, like you said, maybe removing an outfield player for a significant amount of time to stop that. Or I think the one that I think would be most beneficial would be stop players from going to the touchline. So if keeper goes down, everyone stays in the middle of the pitch, and we all know that's the reason that these keepers are going down, is to get more information onto the players or to change tactics. And I think stopping players going over to the touchline would be probably the easiest solution to stopping keepers going down and slowing the game down.
You'll always find a way around it. I'm just picturing a scenario where the goalkeeper goes down and all the players have aligned themselves in a little chain link so they can pass messages on from the down. Yeah. There's always some way around it. But I mean, there you go. I'll ask you first, Chris. I was thinking, how about if each team had a timeout like you would in the basketball, for example? If you could call a timeout to bring in your players and to talk about them, would that solve the solution?
I still think that I don't think it'd solve the solution, because I think because the game changes so much, things happen in the game that changes so much that it could be a red card or it could be a goal goes in and something's going to change throughout the game. So I think even if you put them in during the game, I still think that there's going to be a way. I mean, you could see the physios running on with a message for the players, and there's always, like I said, there's always going to be another way around it. I don't think there's an easy solution, but other than to try and stop the players from congregating on the halfway line. But ultimately, I don't think there's one easy solution to stop it.
Charlie, you threw this grenade in here. What do you think? I mean, is there an easy solution? Would you just stop, make it like musical chairs where you have to stand still?
Well, no, I definitely think the most logical way about it is that you've got to send an outfield player out for at least 1 minute, maybe even 2 if we're going to try and really crack down on it. Because I don't really think, as you always say, that there is always going to be a way of getting that message out. And the only way that the team are really going to feel any punishment for it is if they're a man down. Because, I mean, yeah, there's so many loopholes and anything that they'll find these days. You've got to take other action, really, I think, to stop.
I think the thing is, even being a man down doesn't feel draconian enough for me. I think if you're really on the ropes and you're at a stage where you need your goalkeeper to go down, I don't know that being a man down would necessarily inconvenience that much for a minute, maybe 2 minutes, maybe a bit longer than that, whatever. If he was a nominated man, maybe if it had to be a captain, for example, would that work?
Yeah, well, that's definitely an option with the captain, because it'll definitely hurt them more. Depending on it, always depends on, because if someone does it later on, they're probably going to take the striker off, and as you said, that might not actually hurt them, because obviously you just play more defensively until he can come back on. So it may also bring more negative effects to the game, but it's a really tricky one in terms of trying to do something that will actually affect the team so they don't want to do it. Whereas you've got to look at it and think that it may make them become more defensive and disrupt the game even more with time wasting to wait until he gets back on the pitch.
Yeah, it's
a tricky one.
It's a tough one. It is a tough one. I'm sure the rule makers will find some way of making a pig's ear out of it. They always do. They always do. And then we'll be sat here moaning and yearning for the good old days where the keeper just went down and they nipped over to the dugout and they spoke for a couple of minutes and we went on. I'm sure they'll find a way. Good one to start us off, though, without question. Ashley, I'm going to pick on you next. You've got your big question ready. Lay it on us.
Yeah, you're probably going to roll your eyes at this one, but my question's around home atmosphere. Do we think it's been good this year or not? I'm not going to comment on the away because I think that's always great. But yeah, at home, yeah, I'll not say too much. You can come back around to me, but yeah, I wanted to get other people's opinion on what we think, and then and if not, then how do we improve it?
Yeah, it's a really hot topic, and it's something I know the club are really keen to kind of get ideas and to listen to people on as well. So yes, what you're talking about now could shape the future of Bolton Wanderers. No pressure, Chris, but you're first up, mate.
I think the majority of the atmospheres that we've seen this season have been okay. You look at the games against Wigan, for example. Bradford at home was a really good atmosphere, but I think it all depends on circumstance as well. I mean, there's been Tuesday night games where we've not had a massive crowd on, and you can sort of feel it in there that there's not that atmosphere. A solution for creating a better atmosphere is a bit of a tough one. I think the club have got to have a bit of a headache with that one. But yeah, I think overall this season, I think the atmospheres have been pretty good. I think it always makes it a better atmosphere. I think if you get a stronger away crowd, I think the home and away crowd bouncing off each other during the game always creates more intensity. And I think there's been we're the 90-minute kings at the moment. So I think a lot of the late goals that we've seen this season have definitely added a great ending to a game, but maybe even to games that haven't had the best atmosphere during the 70 or 80 minutes before that. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they come up with in terms of trying to create a better atmosphere during them games.
And yet still you lot bugger off on 90 minutes and try and get an early cut on the car parks. It's incredible. I wish I could. Have you ever missed a goal, Chris? Have you put your hand up if you've ever walked out of a ground and missed a Bolton goal?
I've not walked out of a ground, but when we won the Papa John's Trophy against Plymouth, I got to Wembley late and missed the first 2 goals, which was absolutely horrendous. So by the time we got in there, we pretty much knew we were winning the game at 2-0. So yeah, it wasn't great. So I wasn't too happy about that. But yeah, never left again early.
Fantastic. It's prepare to fail, failure to prepare, and all that sort of stuff.
Definitely.
Charlie, as a young lad, you won't necessarily remember the Reebok Roar, but it used to be a thing. It used to be a thing, and it used to have quite a reputation, I think, when they first moved to that stadium, that you had this atmosphere. I'm not sure necessarily it is the same nowadays. You've obviously got the corner that provides an excellent kind of bit of banter with the away fans, but I think there's possibly a bit more that could be done to try and unify, maybe.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that what league we're in impacts this, because I think the way that the teams set up and play is a lot more defensively minded throughout most of the teams, and they're a lot cagier games. I know we've scored a lot of last-minute goals, and the atmosphere's been great then, but a lot more people tend to be more nervous throughout the game as we're edging on a draw or we're losing throughout the game, and I think that impacts the atmosphere with the fact that everyone's more nervous, and especially the fact that you're getting only a couple of hundred fans in the away end, because it gives the fans nothing to bounce off, even though we're losing. So we're kind of all just there anticipating a last-minute goal with the way we've been scoring right now. But you've also just got to factor in the fact that it gets more nervous the later on the season you get, and the later on the games are, with the results still either losing or drawing. I think that definitely impacts the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no doubt whatsoever that the place will be bouncing come playoff semi-final day, whichever leg they have at home. Bolton fans will come to the wicket for the big games. We know that. But you're talking about during the season, and you're talking not necessarily just about bouncing off away fans, but just bits that the club can do. There's music, there's half-time stuff, there's, all the ticket offers, there's ways of getting younger fans in. I suppose there's a kind of a holistic way, Ashley, that you got to look at it. There's lots of different bits that add to a great atmosphere, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with the away fans, and scoring the first goal. I don't think that's helped us this year either. Been a bit late in the first half to get them goals, but yeah, I think I don't know. I was thinking more for prepping for the semi-final for Wembley as well, but whether they can get people to get to the seats a bit earlier as well, I don't think that helps always. You get people in, get something happening for 5 minutes or so while we're waiting for players to come out, trying to get people, like you say, get chance going. I don't know, more instruments. I know they tried the North Stand, didn't they, years and years back. It didn't really
singing
take
section
off. Yeah, didn't quite go, did it, on the flags before kick-off, and that never really took off either. But yeah, something just to get them going. I think get some chance going, because away fans, it never seems to stop, and at home it's harder. But how do we recreate that and get? Because I think once we start, it starts bouncing. But yeah, it just takes a while to get going.
It's amazing, really, that there's such a difference, because away from home, genuinely this season, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up people's backsides, but I've never seen a better Bolton away support than there has been this season. It's been astonishing, sold out everywhere, loud as you like, never anything but positive, even when they absolutely do not deserve it. And yet, just the home atmosphere just seems to have just dropped off a little bit. And they've tried little bits, and they've got your little games and all that sort of stuff at halftime, which I suppose does something. But I don't know. You talk about the flags there. Is there a bit more that can be done dressing the thing up? You've got the big tifos and all that get used elsewhere. Bolton have never really gone for much of that. Is that something that they could use?
Yeah, maybe. And I remember, was it the little clappers he had at playoff first leg?
Bloody nuts, they did.
Leg, last time, yeah. And then the flags at Wembley. I think stuff like that definitely helps. But obviously, can't do that every game. But maybe for the big games. But yeah, I don't know. Is it spreading? I don't want to say more drums everywhere, but something. I think you need that something to get once the chance start is fine, but it's just probably getting them going and sustained. But yeah, I think there's definitely stuff they can do. It's like some kind of MC on like going around, getting the crowd going.
It's a good shout out
in the finals, and just start some chants. I don't know, something like, even if it's just to get the families involved, and then it's players come out to a bit more.
Need to fix that sound system if they're doing that, though, don't they?
Yes.
You've got the man I feel sorry for is Phil Hayes. The poor sod.
Yeah,
he's like Norman Mailer sometimes. You can barely hear him. It's terrible. Right. Okay. Well, that is a very, very good question, and no pressure, Chris. No pressure with the last question of this session. But I tell you, we've had two good ones so far. What are you going to ask us?
So mine is with a view to next season, but obviously we're all fingers crossed that we're going to be promoted. through the playoffs this season. So, imagining that we are in the Championship next season, what would you define as a good season? Would it be sitting just outside the relegation zone, or are we looking to maybe cement, all being well, we don't know what's going to happen yet, but just cementing a solid mid-table finish with aspirations of moving up further in the coming years?
So this is all in theory, and we're not counting our chickens. So we don't want this.
It's not theory, Mark. We've got to be positive now. We're going up this season. It's got to go this season.
Look, I'm willing for manifesting that to happen. I have had enough of midweek trips to Stevenage and the like. I have no ambition to go to Bromley in any way, shape, or form. So no, I'm well up for the Championship. But yeah, it's interesting. It's all this buts and maybes. But what do you reckon, Charlie? I mean, if Bolton were to get promoted this season, and you look at the teams that are in and around that bottom end of the table, the Portsmouths, the Blackburns, West Broms, Swanseas, Prestons, that ilk, have Bolton got it within them to climb above that and to actually go for that extra playoff spot, which is available now, of course?
Well, I wouldn't certainly be disheartened if we finish just above the relegation zone. I think the priority in the first season is definitely not to get relegated and just make sure we're in the league for the seasons onwards, and then hopefully we can build from there. But I certainly think we certainly have the capabilities to look on and push for higher up tables and hopefully go for the top 8 in the playoffs. But again, as I said, if we were just fighting outside the relegation zone, it certainly wouldn't worry me as long as we stayed up. Because, I mean, you look at Oxford now, they've come straight back down. I definitely think the priority is to stay up and make sure we don't come back down and become a yo-yo team. And you've always got to prioritise the league, and then maybe hopefully get more funds once we're in the league for a couple of seasons. And that's when hopefully maybe we can start to build and go for playoffs. But I definitely think we definitely have the money and the fan base to push straight away and get straight stuck in.
Yeah, I mean, certainly facilities wise, fan base wise, all that is definitely tick, tick, tick. The money thing is the interesting one. I don't know with this. So, I mean, it's probably a wider one, and I don't want to go lobbing different questions in here, Ashley, but with Football Ventures, they've invested. You know, you can't take that away from them at all. But we know that the Championship is different gravy. How confident are you that Bolton have got the financial wherewithal, if they got to the Championship, to do, you know, what Charlie just said there, and make sure you don't go back down?
Yeah, I feel confident enough that I think they would they'd put their hand in the pocket, but nothing silly, but enough to invest. I was listening to another podcast, and it was an Oxford fan, and they were saying, you know, there's probably some lessons learned around if they'd have done it maybe differently, but it maybe invested in with a bit more of a plan, instead of getting older, proven pros, maybe going for the younger resale values, which I know they seem to be pushing towards even in League One. So I think there'll be enough money to stay up, and I'd be happy with just staying up as long as there was a plan, and like you say, you're investing in players that can grow with the club and take us high up the league, or have a selling value that we can reinvest and you know, keep growing the team and pushing on. But yeah, I think we definitely need to invest. Looking at the squad this year, there's some positions looking good. Other positions, I think, like probably more in the defensive positions where it needs a little bit more investment. But yeah, I think they would. I think it'd be $1 million here or a couple of million there. Nothing silly, but yeah, enough to get a squad to be confident of staying up.
Yeah. Oh, we've actually managed here to find 3 sensible Bolton Wanderers fans. What is going on? This isn't YouTube. You're supposed to be shouting and spitting at the cameras, guys. Chris, you've asked that question, and I'm going to ask you for an answer as well, really. How confident are you that can happen?
I'm confident. I mean, some people might say you're blindsided because you're a Bolton fan. I think we've all been through the run of the mill the last few years, and we've had playoff heartaches. We've had, you know, the Oxford one still hurts. It really does. I mean, I think if you compare the two teams, compare the two clubs over the course of the season, I think every League One fan would have backed Bolton to go and win that game and go up. So moving on to if we go up next season, I think, like Charlie said, I'd be happy if we finished 21st come the end of the season and stayed up. But I also think that we can, with the right investment, which I believe that Football Ventures and the Swift Consortium can do, I think we're more than capable of holding our own in that league. I still think we're going to be reliant on a Cozier Dewberry loan or someone that can just give us that flair. There's been talk, I know obviously people can't say too much, but that Blackett Taylor may be available at the end of the season. It's something that we might look at depending on if we're in the Championship. So I think just someone who can get fans off on their feet, and I think that's one thing that does create that atmosphere. Is when we lost to Mario and we brought Blackett Taylor in, you have players who can get fans on their feet. Sissoko the last few weeks, I don't know where it's come from, but it's been crazy. We are. I mean, it's come at the right point of the season. If he'd have done it when he first come off and it had gone away now, we'd have all been gutted about it. But I believe, like Ashley said as well, defence is probably the biggest investment we need to do in next season. That's probably our weakest strength at the moment is our defence. Attacking wise, I'm happy. Obviously, we're going to lose players like Mario at the end of the season, but I think we'll be more than capable. I've got more than enough trust in the board to invest in the right places and make us competitive in that division next season.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there is a whole series of podcasts to be done, I think, on what happens next if Bolton do get there, because there's a lot of lone players in there. There's a lot of decisions to be made. Burstow, I think Blackett Taylor, Sissoko potentially. There are a few of these lads that could easily sign on with the right investment. But yes, very, very interesting stuff. And thank you very much, guys, because 3 astonishing questions to get us started. I like the format of this. I think it's going to work. Massive thank you to you guys, Ashley, Chris, and Charlie, for joining in. A massive thank you to everybody that has listened as well. And for the first time, I'm going to ask you to do the clicky subscribe thing, because this YouTube channel is happening whether we like it or not. And I don't want to be sat here talking to nobody. So make sure you do subscribe and tell your friends, spread the word. And we'll be back with another one of these. I'll tell you how much of a trial this is. I haven't even got a name for the show. So tell me what the show's called. Who knows? Your questions. Maybe we call it Question Mark. That's quite cheesy. That sounds Alan Partridgey. Okay. I'm off. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.